Hey, John here. So, from time to time, I get asked this question. You're probably quite busy with all the solar installations and all of that. And the truth is, no, we are not doing solar installations back to back. We are electrical contractors, so our main work is electrical installations. Now, the solar and the inverters and backup, obviously, people are looking for 2 or 3 quotes, and from that they make a decision who they want to go, and we don't get them all, and there's a simple reason for that. We are probably more expensive than the other 2 quotes. Now, as a business owner, you obviously will be constantly checking to see where you're going wrong and if you are going wrong with your pricing and all of that. However, when you start looking into what the other installations are looking like and what the guys are putting into those installations, then you kind of realize that, hey, hold on, we aren't comparing the same things here. And there's a few things that I want to share with you that I know what a lot of the guys in the industry are doing. One of them is the use of a 4-core cable in place of 2 single-phase cables on a single-phase installation. So I've mentioned this before. When we first started doing installations many years ago on these inverter systems, we were doing the exact same thing. We were using a 4-core cable in place of 2 single-phase cables because it was cheaper. And what I'm noticing is that even though it's clear in the sense, it states at 6.1.4, all the conductors of any circuit shall originate at the same distribution board. And that clearly means that if AC is leaving one distribution board going to another, that circuit must occupy that cable only. You shouldn't have 2 other cores of that same cable bringing power back down this direction. And if you don't want to listen to it from the SANS, just think of it from a safety perspective. If you had a 4-core cable landed into a DB and you're using the red and the black to leave that DB, the other 2 cores, yellow and blue, are bringing power back this direction, essential supply. If somebody is working on this distribution board and if they don't notice the yellow and blue conductors, and if they switched off the feed to the system, red cable on the circuit breaker, and then they go and cut the cable for whatever reason, they needed to work on it to do a join on all of that, and they end up blowing the inverter up, they'll end up getting electrocuted and all of that, all because the cable was not used in the intended purpose of it. So that's one of the things we've noticed that a lot of installations are doing. I actually see the videos and I see the pictures of it. Another thing that we do is we pre-wire all our distribution boards, AC and PVDBs, and all our PVDBs are wired using hook blade lugs. All cables in the PVDB are wired with this. It gives you an airtight crimp onto the cable, and when it goes into the breaker, it's a neat finish, and it prevents or it tries to mitigate the risk of hotspots and future, obviously, failure of breakers. And from there, the guys will take that same crimping tool to site, and all the cables that come down from the solar panels are also crimped and put into the breakers. It makes it neat, it makes it tidy, and it also makes it much more safer and gives you much more longevity on the system. And so to do all of that work, it takes much more time. When we price and we are allowing for the roof structure, we cater to put a roof hook on every single truss. Now, when you look at it, you will notice that the roof trusses are on average around 700 millimeter apart. Now, so some people, 700 millimeter is too close to put a roof hook. However, if you don't put one at 700, you're now putting it at 1.4. And 1.4 meters for the spacing on it is a little bit harsh. We once saw an installation where the panels flew off a roof, and this is all because the installer had spaced them at 1.3 or 1.4, and the panels picked up some wind and it started to vibrate. It put strain on the brackets. It ended up cracking the brackets. The brackets were actually stainless steel, but the data sheet from the manufacturer stated that it's not for coastal use, and it was used on the coast. And they failed and they broke. The panels lifted off, and this was like a 3-story building, and panels flew all the way down and hit the floor. Now, thankfully, nobody got hurt in that installation. These are all the risks that come, and it may not show its head today, but it can show its head one day. And if you follow on installations done in the UK or Australia or even America, and they're obviously much ahead of us, so now they're seeing a lot of their installs failing and there's fires and all of that. So we still have to come to that place. Another thing I've noticed was one person that I was chatting to that wanted some advice from another province, and he shared the information that he got from one of the installers, and the guys were fitting in a 16 kVA inverter, but on the costing they had 35mm battery cable. Now there's a possibility they were going to double up the cable, but why double up a 35mm cable when you could just put in the correct size cable? So all these little things that makes an installation safer and to let you run the system for many more years to come are the things that I'm noticing that a lot of people are not doing. So I might not get all the installs, but I think the few that I do get, we know when we leave there that we're not expecting some sort of catastrophic event happening. We got that relationship with the client moving forward, servicing their systems, making sure everything's going well for many years to come. I hope this was insightful. I hope this is something that installers will look into it and realize that their shortcomings and start putting in this extra effort into the installs. Don't just do the install to say we've done 100 installs in the year or something of that sort, but make sure that if any install you walked out of, you put your head on the pillow and you can sleep well. And for the end users, obviously we always know money is the main factor when you are choosing a service provider. However, think about it when you are doing it properly. See what you are getting for that. And most of the time, if you pay that little extra, you will get a lot more value for your money. I will catch you guys on the next one.